So you do college, you graduate, you learn a lot about yourself. Well, you discover it takes you 3 years to get used to where you are, and you're tested and your faith in God grows, and then you come back here. What was it like coming back and being part of the church and all of that?
It was a little hard at first. Like part of that was like people had known my family for 3 years, and haven't really met me too much. Well, kind of like I was there in the summers, but like I wasn't really involved in anything.
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you. That's true. Because you would come and you would sit with them, and I'm always like, who is that guy? And every summer I would like ask the same question. I'm like, but he looks like them. I don't pay good enough attention anyways. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then like for me, I'm not really one to like go out and be like, hi, I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like just getting through things. Like I'm still not past my 3 years. I'm not comfortable here.
I'll come talk to you in 3 years.
But I didn't really realize that, but I didn't feel comfortable. So I'm in my shell. I'm just kind of like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit, but slowly kind of just got to know more and more people, getting involved and like joining a Barnabas.
Okay, well, welcome to New Lifecast, episode... Dang, is this episode 6?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who cares? Anyways.
You're the one editing these.
Okay, well, episode 6. Today, we are interviewing the man behind the curtain. He is no longer behind the curtain. He is in the chair. Our previously announced guest was not able to make it, so we are doing a little switcheroo here with Nathan Anderson.
And it's about time.
It's about time. He has chimed in a little bit in other episodes. If you've been an avid listener, you would have remembered that.
If you're a true fan.
But now we're going to really get to know him. So, thank you all for listening. We've been getting a lot of great feedback and just really appreciate it. I think real quick, Jared wanted to make a shameless plug for her tallow, so we'll get the ad out of the way.
Yeah, you got to get it at the start so people listen.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So have you had dried skin? Have you been unhappy? Have you liked going outside or disliked going outside? Well, if you have all these problems, I have just the thing for you. Tallow by Gwen. Hallowed Tallow. It's the best stuff ever. That was mostly all a joke, but I am selling it doesn't have the organic sticker on it, probably because I'm just making it in my house, but all of the ingredients in this tallow is organic. It is beef fat, so it's the fat from around the organs of a cow, so it doesn't smell super beefy for some reason, and it's loaded with nutrients that are awesome for your skin. Tallow is very close to the sebum that your skin produces. So it's going to be really awesome for the winter months coming up here. And this stuff can last, I would say 3 to 6 months, but it can actually last up to a year. It's really, really awesome. And from what we make from selling the tallow, we are going to give half of that to organizations committed to ending human trafficking. Probably at this point, mostly Pernada, but I recently heard that Carla's sister actually does work with some ladies that used to be trafficked in Costa Rica. So I'd be really interested in giving some money to that. So right now I have a deal going on. You get 4 ounces for $25. That's not going to last long because we're getting our labels. It's going to be looking super official. And this stuff is worth up to like $35. Very high-end ingredients. It is a deal, $25. And half of the money goes towards ending human trafficking. So please get on it. And if you don't like the stuff, I am happy to make it right by either refunding you or making you a new bottle. But I promise you will love it. So contact me if you want some tallow. That's all.
Great. If I had skin, I would buy some. That's great.
You guys have some.
That's true. I just saw it in my bathroom right before I came over here.
Wow, they're using it all the time.
It is a big improvement from the last tallow that Elena was using because that stuff smelled like pickle juice.
And this smells like
I don't know. I haven't smelled it.
green tea.
Okay. Big improvement from pickle juice. Anyways, let's get on to our guest here. So, Nathan, thank you for doing this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm super excited about it. Now, we always have our first question, which is, what is it again?
What is your favorite color and what does it say about you?
As a person.
Favorite
As a
color?
person.
Huh. I feel like I haven't had to think about that since like kindergarten. But I don't know. I think like cyan was always kind of my favorite color.
Is that how it's pronounced? Is it cyan or cyan? I don't know.
I don't know.
What does that look like?
It's
So
your favorite color.
it's
It
like
is.
like a lighter blue.
Yeah, but a little bit closer on the green
Yeah.
side.
Oh, okay. So like close to turquoise,
It's like a
like
light
a greener,
or like
lighter.
is it a more vivid turquoise? Is that how you would
Kinda. It's
describe it?
It's almost turquoise, I would say. Yeah.
That is my favorite color then, but you're saying it more fancy.
Cyan.
If I were to do cool editing on this podcast, I would have a big splotch of cyan show
So you
up.
have like the color code for it.
Yeah.
But if you want to do cool cool editing on these podcasts, because that's something people have said they have a problem with, you can sign up to do that for us.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea. Yep. If you have video editing skills or video editing desires, you can do that.
Back to you.
Anyways, back to Nathan. Lots of plugs here. So, cyan. And what does that say about you as a person?
I don't know. It's kind of like weird question, I guess, for me. Just because, like, I don't know, like, I just don't really give it that much of a thought of, like, what's your favorite color? And I was like, oh, I like this color. In, like, elementary school, middle school kind of tapers out. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what it says about me. I guess I like water. Like,
Yeah.
I've always liked, like, playing in cricks or the stormage drain after a storm or...
Oh, nice. I have some
Puddles.
good memories from some storm drains, too.
We were at the lowest point of our little neighborhood, so like all the water accumulated there. So then it would also flood in front of our house.
Yeah.
So every time we had a big storm, got to go out and play in the puddles
And
and
swim, yeah.
almost swim. Yeah, sometimes.
See, when I was a kid, we would go into. I actually now live in the neighborhood that I was doing this in, but we would at very dry times, not when it was wet, but when it was very dry and no rain in the forecast, we would spelunk in the
Oh,
drainage.
Oh my gosh.
Tunnels. And
That sounds dangerous.
It was dangerous. I wouldn't.
Does your
advise
mom
it,
know?
but she does now. But no, I don't think anyone ever got seriously injured or anything. But you shouldn't do it because you can always have flash floods and then you die. And actually, I think there was kids recently around here that died. And I can't remember exactly, but I heard something about that. Anyways,
Well,
not a good idea, but it's a lot of fun. So
you do not endorse going into
yeah, I do not.
it's better to do what Nathan did and
play above ground.
play above ground and swim. But
So what was it like growing up as an Anderson?
As an Anderson.
That's who you are, right?
Yeah. Pretty good. Like, I had a good childhood. Like, I had a good family growing up. Things were always pretty good. Things were always pretty noisy. I have 3 other siblings. So yeah, all pretty close to my age. My older sister Nicole is 3 years older than I am. My younger brother Josh is 3 years younger, and then Hannah is 4 years younger than I am. So we're all kind of close age-wise. So it was good. Also meant we argued a lot, I guess. But yeah, no, it was just pretty good. Yeah, always went to church. Just something my parents always did, and then so far we were raised in the church we went to previously. So,
what is your earliest memory?
what is my earliest memory? So this was kind of interesting because I got some of these questions ahead of time, and I was trying to think about that. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of have some memories of like, so when I was really young, my parents lived at a house. And then when I was about 3, we moved to a new house. Right after, well, 3 or 4. It was right after Josh was born. Then we needed a bigger house because there's now 3 kids. But that original house, I felt like I had some memories of playing in it. But then I was thinking a little bit more. I'm like, I feel like I just looked at some photographs, and I was then told because my parents had a lot of photographs that we looked through occasionally. So I was like, what is the thing that I know that I didn't just look at a photograph of? And I think it was probably preschool.
Yeah.
I don't know, like just the toys that were there, interacting with kids. Yeah. Oh, and then there was a gerbil.
Oh,
I thought that was like the coolest thing.
at preschool?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had like a little cage with like a guinea pig or something in it. I was just like, oh, that's so cool. Because like growing up, didn't have pets. I guess my grandparents had a dog. But like, I was like, oh, there's a guinea pig. That's cool. Living creature.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think that was probably some of my earliest memories.
I recently got to go to a guinea pig funeral.
Funeral.
I just
I
happened
thought you were going
upon-
to say far.
No, I would never. I happened upon it, and it was kind of funny. Liz's guinea pig had died, and I was just on a walk, and I went to Jessica's house, and they're like, oh, you're in time for the funeral. So they all paint rocks, and Gwen gets to paint a rock, and then John comes out to dig a hole for the guinea pig, and he's singing a sad, folky song as he digs the hole. They put the guinea pig in there, and like at this point, flies are starting to get on it. And then he covers it up, and then everybody says a few words, and Gwen puts her little rock on the hole.
It's
And
like a cairn.
yeah, I don't know what that is, I guess.
It's a pile. You pile stones on a dead body.
okay.
rather than burying it.
Yeah. And then there was a poem that was read, and then there was a luncheon for this guinea pig.
Wow.
Did you guys do all that? Preschool ever died?
No, didn't die, at least that I know of.
Not at that time.
I wasn't paying close enough attention, so maybe it switched to a different.
Yeah, I probably died in the night and they swapped it out so the kids didn't know. Something like that. So what kind of things did you enjoy doing as a kid?
So growing up, we didn't really have too many other kids in the neighborhood. The ones that were like quite significantly older than us. So like middle school, high school, while we were all in elementary school. So we mostly played just with my siblings, just played with each other. But we'd be outside quite a bit, biking, playing around in the little forest that we had in our backyard at that time.
And is that the house that your parents are currently at?
Yeah, so that's kind of the house that I've always known as home.
Yeah.
Just because I was really young before our original house. But yeah, on Canes Drive.
So you went to public school then? You guys weren't homeschooling?
Yeah, so all my siblings were raised public school.
How was that? Was that different? Like, when you went to school, was it different from like what you would be hearing? The stuff your parents were saying at home, was it different from what you were hearing at school?
Parents staying at home.
Like teaching you the Christian beliefs and values, and then if you went to school, did they say like evolution? Do you remember any of that?
Yeah.
Or do you?
So it was quite different, I guess. Yeah. It's probably a lot more different now from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little different. I didn't really think much of it, just because I knew, okay, parents will listen in church, and okay, I know my values. Okay, we're gonna hear some stuff that we don't agree with, but so I don't know. It just was kind of normal to me, where it's like, okay, yeah, I just gotta use my mind to interpret everything, and but I didn't really think anything of it because it was just normal for me. I was just like, yeah, it's just public school. This is what it is, and it wasn't until coming here I was like, wow, everyone here is homeschooled. That's kind of weird. And then I'm like,
It is
no,
kinda
it's
weird.
not really that weird. It's kind of smart in a lot of ways, but yeah.
What do you remember enjoying at public school?
There was a lot of frustrations, but there was also a lot of good things. It was pretty nice that there were a lot of people there. Like it was kind of intimidating for me at times, but it also meant that I could find people that I did eventually relate with, could make friends.
So did you have a lot of friends at public school?
Not too many, but I feel like I'm not really one to be that social, so it is hard for me to make friends. But I was able to find people that I did actually relate with eventually, and then be able to make friendships. I enjoyed the extracurriculars. Was in band, jazz band, did theater.
Oh.
Oh, not acting.
Like stage build.
He was probably the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, doing sound and lights there. So that was quite enjoyable. Just being able to have some of those experiences.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like I wish I had done a little bit more of that, like especially with artistic things like theater. I think I probably would have enjoyed theater as a kid, but I just never signed up for it. I mean, there was the opportunity. I just never signed up for it. So
Well, it's not too late, Joseph.
you're right.
Yeah, there's many theaters in town.
I mean, maybe I'm pretending right now.
So what was high school like for you?
High school was pretty interesting. It's kind of intimidating at first because I've kind of noticed that it takes me like 3 years to kind of settle in.
Oh.
So like I was just settling in middle school, 8th grade year. I was feeling pretty good, comfortable with like my classes, just because for 3 years you've had most of the same people kind of throughout. Though you see new people because there's multiple classes, but so things of course got shaken up when you go to high school. Everything's different, all this new stuff, but it was also pretty fun just because the extracurriculars got a little bit more competitive, I guess. So like band was a lot more challenging. There was marching band.
Yeah, it is a odd thing in our society that like we have this centralization that like controls kids' relationships.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you reached this 4 years, now you're over here. Okay, you don't know any of the people. I don't know. It's
Well, if you don't move, then you probably do like most kids would go to the same high school, right?
Yeah, so middle school, so elementary schools have the smallest kind of pull area just because they're smaller. Middle school was a little bit larger reach, high school even larger. Most of the time, if you went to the people, like middle school going to high school, you would go with most of those people from those middle school. But then you have a bunch more kids mixed in.
Yeah.
So it's a little more dispersed of people you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of odd because I feel like there's something really powerful about knowing someone your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a lot of people like, all my best friends I had in high school or whatever. And then it's like the rest of their life, they have a hard time making friends. And I just think like human beings just aren't that great at making friends in general. Like it's hard.
Well, isn't there like a thing where like most people are only able to like remember so many names and faces?
Yeah.
Some people are better than others.
And so, yeah, it's just like a weird thing to just arbitrarily like have those relationships cut off. But I always like reconnecting with people I haven't seen in a long time.
I do too. I didn't have a hard time. Like, I don't have a hard time making friends. Today at Walmart, I walked up to this girl and said, "Do you believe in God?" She's loading my groceries. Then I gave her my number and told her our church name. So,
Nice.
you could go about it that way.
Did she believe in God?
No, she said she doesn't believe in God, but she used to go to church with her grandma growing up. And ever since then, she hasn't been going to church. And I said, well, I never do this, which I probably do. I never do this, but just take this as a sign that God wants you. You should come to this church. We're really loving. And then you can call this number. And she was like, okay, well, I don't want you to have to go through all this trouble. And I said, oh, no. And I gave her my number. And she said, your baby's cute. And then I left. But it was funny because I was like barefoot and like I looked crazy. I was trying to get like these diapers returned. It was crazy. Anyways, Nathan. So why do you think it's hard for you to make friends? Like why, like, as you said that it takes you a while to get settled into a place, like about 3 years, and how did you figure it was exactly 3 years?
I don't know. It was just kind of something I noticed that like I was really kind of not really outgoing until kind of like end of 8th grade year. Then I was starting to like socially interact with a lot more people. Maybe it was because I was more involved by the time 8th grade year. And then high school came around, and then I kind of like hid back into my shell until I got more comfortable. And I felt like junior year, senior year, then I was a little bit more outgoing and more social. And then college kind of hit 3 years on, then COVID happened. So then
Shoot.
kind of shook things up again. But yeah, I don't know. I've kind of noticed a pattern that like 3 years, then I start to kind of relax and feel comfortable.
That's amazing. Like to know that, like it's gonna take me this amount of time, and then I'll feel comfortable.
Well, most of the time.
So, how long have you guys been coming to this church?
So about when I was graduating high school, which was 2017, we had some things going on in past church that parents kind of said, enough's enough. We're going to start looking for another church. They tried to work things out. And just kind of was like, time to go. So it was about the end of my senior year. I remember we started going to a couple other churches. I went to a couple. And so I think the second one we went to was New Life. I think it was like Father's Day or something. Because I remember like, oh, this is weird. All these kids are coming up. But I was like, that's kind of cool too. Like,
Yeah.
that's nice.
It's a nice tradition.
Yeah. No, I've grown to appreciate more and more. It's also very entertaining.
Yes.
There's a lot of characters here, and
Yes.
also a lot of cute things are said. But
So, do you feel like you got plugged in? Do you feel like it took you 3 years to get plugged in here at New Life?
kinda. Like it was a little weird. So like I was just graduating high school and then went off to college. I don't remember exactly when my parents made the decision that like New Life is our church now. I think it was some point in the summer because like we had come back a couple times and then we went to the family retreat. Like after that, then we decided. So like most of the summer I was coming to church here, and then I had to go off to school. So I would only come whenever I was back on the weekends and I didn't have to leave sooner for school. So that was kind of weird because it was kind of awkward where like I didn't really feel part of New Life.
Yeah.
Because like I would only be there a couple times, well, through the summer, but then
Yeah.
a couple times through the year, throughout the rest of that. So yeah, probably it's taken about 3 years, I guess. So being here, I guess I would feel like till, yeah.
If you don't mind, if we take like a step back in time, when do you feel like you accepted Christ? And like, what was, because obviously your parents were Christians, grew up in a Christian household. What was your experience there like?
So even though the church we went to was a lot smaller than New Life was, like they still had like Sunday school, vacation Bible school, that stuff. So really got to learn about the Bible, about Jesus, at least in the capacity of a young kid can comprehend. So it wasn't until, trying to think about when, probably somewhere early middle school, late elementary school, that like I was like, talked to my mom about it. Like, what does it really mean to be a Christian? And
Yeah.
it was like, this, and it's like, okay, here's a prayer. And so I remember I went up to my room, kind of prayed, and came back down. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So, yeah.
Did you say middle school?
It was somewhere around there, like so 6th or 5th grade. I feel
Yeah.
like it was maybe a little sooner.
What prompted you to ask that and feel curious?
I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of just as I was learning more in church, I was just like, well, what does it really mean? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, how how did you feel like your faith grew through middle school and into high school?
Felt like there was some growth. It was a little hard. There's definitely a lot of things that frustrated me before. Part of that I think was just my attitude. Like I always kind of had a hard time back then understanding people. And then I would get frustrated and then instantly like I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to, like, what you're saying is dumb. So like there was kind of like a hard growth there just because I kind of struggled with like some of the Sunday school teachers, and teachings Sunday morning were all right. So like at our church, we had Sunday school before church, and then everyone would be in the sanctuary for the teaching. So as I got older, things like starting to actually pay attention, and some teachings were all right, but a lot of them weren't really practical to me or related in any way, and or I just didn't get them as a kid. So I felt like I didn't really grow too much. It was there's a little bit of growth, but kind of static. And then throughout college, really didn't have a church because I never really got connected with anything.
Where were you going to college?
Yeah, so I went to Iowa State. And there was some things I was kind of exposed to. I think there was like a group called SALT, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was just kind of like the biggest presence on campus. They had like a little big festival start, and kind of went to that, and it's just like, this is too much for me. Like, so, and then just never really found any small groups or churches that I liked out there. So that was kind of hard. But then I came back and started getting plugged in here, and felt like that's kind of where these past 3-4 years kind of where most been growing even more.
That's awesome.
So
That is.
What do you feel like was the first time? So like obviously you saved as a kid, and you feel like there's a little bit of growth. But when was the first time that you were like, I am really connecting with God, and like I really need God, and I really see my need for Him, and I'm really, I don't know. When was the first point where you were like, yeah, this is what real spiritual growth is, and whatnot?
I guess it was kind of through college almost, because God's kind of the only thing I've ever known.
Yeah.
Just growing up in the church. But it was really when college came, kind of tested me. I was out on my own. I wasn't really attending any church regularly, except when I came back into town. So just when presenting those challenges and just struggles in life, and then kind of asking like, why? It's like, I'm just kind of find the answer with God, and just kind of praying there. Yeah.
Like what kind of struggles were you going through in college?
For college, for me, it was pretty lonely, just because I really never got connected with any social groups out there.
Yeah.
So then I became pretty isolated.
Yeah.
So really didn't have too much interaction outside of classes and like schoolwork.
Yeah.
So that kind of was struggle in my psyche.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
What did you study in college?
So I went to Iowa State for computer engineering. So 4-year program, got a bachelor's degree.
Is that what you're doing now?
Kind of, yeah. So I guess my title is like software engineer, but it is practically what I studied, yeah.
And so has the audio visual thing always been like a side thing for you? Like a hobby, or?
Kind of. So like growing up, it's just what we did at our previous church. Just because my dad had experience, so then he became the one who had experience at the church, so then he ran sound.
Yeah.
So growing up, I learned to do that, and then we started doing like video recordings at our church. My parents didn't want to do that. So once we were old enough, they're like, here you go. You're old enough. We trust you. Run this camera. Because they didn't want to do it. So my siblings and I did it. And then eventually when I was old enough, my dad's like, all right, you can do sound. You can watch me. Go do it. So we did like also the projection and all that. So kind of just grew up learning it. But then in like high school, I had joined the theater department for the like shop tech and all that. And somehow there's like, oh, you know how to do sound? I was like, yeah. I don't know how to run a soundboard. I just was like, yeah, I would run sound. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool, that would be great.
Nice.
We'll put you with this person. And then I quickly learned, I know a decent amount.
Then
I didn't realize that like most people, students that like run sound, like come in with no experience. It's just like, oh.
I feel like high school theater, nobody knows anything. None of what's going on. We're all
That's kind of the point of school.
exactly. Then they teach you, but it's like all really badly done. But I know a lot of people who like go away to college. Like some people really do struggle with that loneliness of like, if especially you were saying that you spent most of your time growing up with your family and not a bunch of other people. So it probably was hard to be away from them. From having that experience and looking to God, because that's all you had was him. What would you say to somebody that would be experiencing something like that now? Some sort of a loneliness, either in school or otherwise?
I guess for me, I've just learned to kind of pray. I feel like I struggle with a lot, just socially, anxiety, and just day-to-day fears. And I've been learning slowly that it's just I need to take a step back and just pray, like just constantly being prayer.
Yeah.
That's definitely helped a lot. Also, just opening up the Bible and starting reading. It's kind of funny. Sometimes you just open up and you're like, oh, that really connects to me right now. Just flip the random page or like pull out my phone and hit like the random button. And
I don't like to have a mystical approach to that. I think it's just the whole Bible is so good.
But sometimes it's fun to be mystical.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But I don't know. Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot that's just applicable to your life in some way or another. And yeah. I don't know. To me, prayer was kind of been the answer. It's just like I was just praying, kept praying.
So do you think it helped so much because like, well, you were praying like, God, please help me to not be alone, and then he brought people, or just because you kind of focused on like the glory of God and how awesome and wonderful he is that you didn't feel lonely anymore? Or was it that you realized like, oh, I'm thinking about myself too much and I need to like help people or whatever? I don't know.
I don't know, kind of find the glory in him, because I was kind of struggling just like, what is the point of everything? Like kind of that point where I was kind of seeping down kind of low emotionally, and then it's like, well, what is my purpose in life? And just, I don't know, just felt like, finding it's like, well, God, he's the purpose.
Yeah.
So just kind of that came to me, and I was like, just everything kind of clicked at that point. I don't know, like I just kind of had a realization. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's awesome that like he didn't bring people; he just made himself enough for you. It sounds like or like at least you realized.
That was kind of the answer where it's like, okay, yeah, we're humans are kind of social creatures. Like, even though I feel like I'm pretty introverted, and I guess a lot of people would say, it's like, yeah, there is a social need that I need. But that, okay, well, God provides everything I need.
Yeah.
And he knows what I need. And I don't know. I guess I needed to be kind of tested at that time, I guess. But of course, he knew that I could bear it. And that definitely kind of sparked my interest and desire to want to learn more. Was kind of that tough time in college, just feeling alone. God's there for me. He's always there. So.
Yeah, it makes me think of a Bible verse where Paul is talking about. This is taken a little bit out of context, but I love doing that. So. Paul's talking about building the church up, and he says it's built on foundation. Foundation's Christ. I'm messing it up real bad, but no one can lay any foundation except for that which has already been laid, and the foundation is Christ. Like I think the experience of a lot of Christians in America in the church who get saved when they're younger or grow up in a Christian household is like, yeah, God exists and God's real, and yeah, I'm a Christian, and that's all like knowledge in their head until they do things get hard and they hit the foundation, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize this was here. I definitely had that experience in high school. It was like late high school. So at least that's two examples, two people having that experience. So
You guys are the only two. Were you homeschooled?
I was homeschooled.
Like, did you, this isn't like your interview, but like, why did you feel lonely?
Oh, well, homeschoolers can be lonely too, can't
I
they?
know, but
They
like,
probably
if you,
have
like,
more reason to be lonely.
well, maybe, but you have always had the same, like, I don't know what I'm asking, can you explain that?
It was definitely just because I couldn't date Elena at the time. So.
Oh, that's most of your problems, Joseph. Can't date Elena. Okay.
So once that got figured out, then
Then all your
I still
problems.
struggle with things.
Okay.
It didn't fix my life. It doesn't. Apparently, getting married doesn't fix your life. I
Apparently.
was tricked.
You were tricked, yeah.
But it is really awesome. Anyways, okay, so this has been really good stuff. What's our next topic?
So you do college, you graduate, you learn a lot about yourself. Well, you discover it takes you 3 years to get used to where you are, and you're tested and your faith in God grows, and then you come back here. What was it like coming back and being part of the church and all of that?
It was a little hard at first. Like part of that was like people had known my family for 3 years, and haven't really met me too much. Well, kind of like I was there in the summers, but like I wasn't really involved in anything.
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you. That's true. Because you would come and you would sit with them, and I'm always like, who is that guy? And every summer I would like ask the same question. I'm like, but he looks like them. I don't pay good enough attention anyways. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then like for me, I'm not really one to like go out and be like, hi, I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like just getting through things. Like I'm still not past my 3 years. I'm not comfortable here.
I'll come talk to you in 3 years.
But I didn't really realize that, but I didn't feel comfortable. So I'm in my shell. I'm just kind of like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit, but slowly kind of just got to know more and more people, getting involved, and like joining a Barnabas, and just kind of getting more involved. And
Yeah. What has your experience been with Barnabas groups?
It's been really good. Like at first it was kind of weird. Just because I was like, what is that? Like, because I've heard the name and it was like, talked about, but it's just like, why would I want to go and talk about my feelings? But like, just, it's been kind of nice. Just having like a group of men or women potentially, just to go and just kind of talk about how things are going, what's been good, what's been bad, and just also kind of just giving wisdom to one another and encouragement. It's been really good.
Yeah.
Something I did want to ask about is why do you serve so much? Because I don't know if other people have noticed this or not, but it's pretty much every week Nathan's in the sound booth in some capacity, either pointing the camera or running the board or whatever. Maybe I'm not paying close enough attention. Maybe you aren't there sometimes. Maybe you are only running the camera. I don't know. Anyways, but then he's also doing a ton of recording stuff with my dad and with Matt Huther. And are you crawling in your skin? Does it feel terrible to be called out?
I don't know. It's kind of annoying sometimes. You'd be like, oh, yeah, Nathan Anderson, thank you. And during Sunday, I'm like, yeah, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Like, thanks, hi.
You do know this podcast is recorded, right?
And
Oh, it is?
We're sending it out to the whole church, by the way. The whole world, actually,
The
if they
whole
wanted to. If they wanted to listen, they could.
But yeah, why do I serve so much? I don't know. Like, to me, I just kind of feel like I'm just doing what I've always done. Like, I guess it was just because my family always did a lot for the church there. Mm-hmm. Partially because there wasn't too many people, so like someone had to do something.
Yeah.
And no one else had some technical knowledge, so we were always there if there had to be like some sound or whatever.
Has that ever been a difficult thing for you of like, oh, I have to serve.
Sometimes, but normally it's kind of just like a frustration in the moment. But like when you actually then do the event or whatever, it's like, yeah, this is really cool. I think part of it is, that one aspect is just kind of all I've known. So, okay, yeah, we're going to help out here. We're going to do this. We're going to go help serve these people or do this thing with my family. So like to me, some of that, it's like, I don't feel like it's too much just to what I've known growing up. But I think another aspect of it as I've gotten older is that like I kind of have these God-given gifts of just good at working with technology, or decent, I guess, and that I can learn how to use something really quick. Just kind of that engineering mentality, just because both my parents were engineers, so then grew up problem solving, and so it's just something that was really easy for me. So it's like, well, I have these God-given gifts, and it's been quite a joy just to be able to use them.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jared and I, and everybody listening, very much appreciates all the work you do, because we wouldn't have much of a podcast without mics and cameras.
Well, and I think it was like the third time we met and you were here, and I was like, I'm very amazed that he sits through this. Like, and with such a good attitude, too.
Well, like, I really enjoy doing it. Like, I don't know, like, sometimes, like, that was kind of, like, frustration of, oh, I got to do this or whatever. But then, like, actually doing it, I'm like, I'm really enjoying listening to this. And so it's like I get to watch it a little early. So, like, in that sense, that's good. Or, like, just running an event where it's like, I might have, like, a bad attitude, maybe occasionally. I'm like, oh, I got to go do this tonight or whatever. But then it's like, oh, yeah, this was really fun or really enjoyable, or, like, just being able to use my skills.
Well, I feel like that's the good
serve.
thing about serving in the capacity God has given you and using your spiritual gifts is you're going to be happy doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you think because your parents just expected just made you guys work growing up, that's why you have such good work ethic now? Or do you like specifically remember them like trying to get you to work and like forcing you guys to do all this stuff? Or was it just like, this is our family culture, this is what we do, and then you guys just kind of follow suit?
I think that was kind of just always expected of us growing up. I think there was kind of a mentality in the Anderson household that, like, you just got to do what you got to do. Like, make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah.
And you can make sure that it's done correctly. So you will do it. Yeah. I think there was a lot of that. But I don't know. Like, I feel like you say, like, work ethic, but at the same time, like, I feel like I'm really lazy. Like, I get that, like, I don't know, personally.
Well, maybe it's like they put responsibility onto you. Like you're talking about with the camera thing. You're old enough, you run it. And do you feel like that was a big aspect of they were willing to just let go and let you figure it out?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's definitely something that I've reflected on, that, like, at least in the growing moment as I'm growing as an adult, that I feel like now as I've been having a lot of responsibilities thrown on me, like through work, and all that. And I'm kind of like hesitant on it, but like looking back, it's like, no, I kind of had a lot of responsibility thrown on me as a kid. Like parents are like, oh yeah, you're gonna run camera now. Start learning. Or like, oh, you're gonna run this play. Figure out how to set it up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you feel like that's where you learned a lot, like the skill of problem solving?
I guess so. Like, I guess I've always felt like it's kind of just been ingrained. because it's just you learn from your parents. That's how my parents think. So like to me, it's just normal. That like gotta figure out how to get this working.
So did it feel like a lot of pressure when they said like, this is the thing you're doing now, figure it out? Or did it just feel like, oh, this is the thing I'm doing now, I've got to figure it out? Like, was it just so normal? Were you like, oh, they expect so much of me?
I think when I was younger, I was just like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I get to run camera. This is fun. I like technology. Like, as I got older, like I started to stress out about things a lot more, so it was less enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like my learning to drive experience was like my father, like, oh hey, let's go to I got to drop this thing off at grandma and grandpa's. Okay, I want you to come along. Oh, okay. I get in. No, you're getting in the driver's seat. You have your license, your learner's permit now. I was like, can I drive through the parking lot?
Oh, you hadn't even driven through oh gosh.
So like my sister had just like gone through all that and gotten her, so I would have been 14, 15, 16. So she would have gotten her intermediates
license
pretty recently. So she was just going through the driving. Of course, one of the things is like, okay, yeah, you're driving every Sunday to church. Because it was just down Edgewood. So like get a nice long drive. Nothing too complicated. Get to go through lights, at least at that time. So through that, like, I guess he thought I had learned enough. Like, obviously you have your learner's permit, so you know the rules of the road. You're just going to go drive now. And I guess it wasn't that far away, but like,
it finally felt.
I was like, oh crap, how hard do I have to press the brake? How hard do I have to press the brake?
We got to interview your dad next, because that's insane.
Oh, I feel like everyone else got to go to parking lots. I don't know.
They probably just got lazy with the rest of the kids.
I know Nicole for sure.
Yeah, that one didn't die, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I just like come off as like more capable, like, which is always weird to me. That like maybe it's just my physical like a reaction to stuff that I have a decent poker face that it doesn't show me anything behind.
Yeah.
That like I could just have a straight face, but like, yeah.
Nice.
That's funny.
I think in some aspects, kind of having more responsibilities put on me younger. Maybe not like driving out on the open road the first time, but was actually pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Just because like I had to learn to be responsible. I'm doing this task that people are going to watch this video afterwards. You need to do a good job.
Yeah.
Or, so many people are listening to this. You're just responsible in doing something. That was just help building responsibility.
Yeah.
When I was
So do you feel like when you have responsibilities now, it feels less heavy? Because like if you've never done something before or have never been like had expectations of you and all of a sudden people expect things of you, that may be scary. Do you feel like it's less scary for you or?
I feel like I still probably panic just as much as anyone else would. But going through with it, normally it's just like, yeah, this is all right. Like in the moment, everything is fine. But I just kind of stress out of things beforehand because I'm like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Did you feel that way before this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you're here now and we're talking and we're having a good time.
I'm actually feeling all right now.
I definitely have that issue as well of like being anxious before I do some public speaking thing or doing a podcast or doing something where it's going to matter and other people are going to see it. I was listening to this podcast and there was this like this world-class bodybuilder was talking about it. And like that's kind of like the last person you'd expect to be dealing with anxiety.
Yeah.
But he kind of like came to the point where he realized like, okay, this anxiety thing is just a physical response that my body is having, and it's preparing me for action. And like he he was like, I just decided that when I feel anxious, I'm going to be like, this is my body being excited for what I'm going to do. And like preparing for that. And that, I don't know, that's been kind of like a little bit of a hack, I feel like, for me, of like, I feel anxious and it's like, oh, this is me being excited about this thing I'm about to do. I don't know. I don't know if it's true. Maybe I'm lying to myself, but I was excited about this podcast and I felt that a little bit. Anyways, so that's something that I've really found helpful, is just channeling that anxiety into just like, wow, I'm excited about this thing. Yeah.
Self-deception is powerful.
It's a placebo effect or something.
When I get anxious, though, I don't do better. I do terrible. I like forget everything and like can barely walk. And like I was trying to take Gwen to the doctor and I did not want to go take her to the doctor for some reason.
Probably because you're going to like tell them not to give her vaccines or something.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, Joseph. I wanted to not say that. But like then all of a sudden I did not know where I was. Like I could not see. Like I called Josh, I can't see. I don't know where I am. I'm going in circles. And he's like, you need to come home.
You couldn't see, like you were blind?
Well, like I couldn't put places together. Like I can see visually, but I like I can't put together a whole picture all of a sudden. So I was like, maybe my tumor is like taking over. Can I see out of my side vision? And I start freaking out. And he's like, come home. And he's like, they just don't want to go through with the appointment because you're just gonna get shots. But my mind, like, it's so powerful. I had driven this route so many times and could not put anything together. Like, and I had GPS.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It is really crazy what the mind can, like the control it has over the body.
Yes. And your desires have, like, even if you don't want to admit it, and yeah, it has the effect on you, a physical effect on you.
Nathan, have you done any Renew ministry, or other than doing video recording for Matt, have you been involved? Have you like been involved in that at all at New Life, or?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay.
It's definitely something, as I've kind of been involved in like helping out with the trainings and stuff, and the additional recordings on the side, that like I'm getting more comfortable with the idea of it, because it's always getting comfortable with it where it's like, oh yeah, that might be good.
Yeah. Well, I'll just put in a shameless plug for Renew Men. That's an event that we do on, I think it's coming up Saturday. Look at your email.
I think it's in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a really good time again to like, because basically what happens there is there's a little bit of a talk, and then they kind of break off into groups, and it's like, who needs help? We're just going to do Renew Ministry right now for you. And if there's someone else there who's just like, I'm just here, then they just get to watch that. And so it's like a really easy entry point. If you just get to watch this person receive Renew Ministry, and you get to see what it's all about. So that's what I would suggest. Come to Renew Men. But
So I had asked earlier, why do you think it takes you like 3 years? And you said it's just something you noticed. But like, what is it feeling like up until the third year when you're like gonna be more comfortable? Like you said, you've been thinking about the idea of getting renewed, but you're just kind of still thinking about it.
I think it's just because things are unknown. I really don't like things that are unknown. Like, for me, driving was really scary. Whenever I would get used to like driving the route to school, but whenever I would have like some sort of event at like at Washington High School, I would just be really scared about driving,
out.
even though like I know how to drive. I've driven most of these roads, maybe not the final stretch. But that was always like really scary to me. It's just that, and then I kind of realized that I don't like doing new stuff. So I guess maybe the 3 years is just
Like this isn't new anymore.
This isn't new anymore. Like I'm comfortable. Like you've experienced it enough that like
It's not
I know
scary.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of probably the biggest factor, is that I really don't like new, which is kind of funny because like in another sense I like trying new things when I'm when I know, like I research things and
When you know you're safe, you're going to be
Yes.
safe.
yeah. But I don't like new stuff kind of being thrown at me.
Have you ever recorded a podcast before?
Podcast, no, but like I've done like a lot of recordings.
Okay, but I mean like sitting in the chair
Oh.
talking.
No.
Well, this is a new thing. That
Didn't take you 3 years.
It took him 5 podcast episodes to feel comfortable enough to get into the seat.
Well,
Yeah, how did you feel being asked to do this?
Well, I knew eventually I would probably be asked.
it was
So
inevitable.
like going home at night, I'd be like, these are the questions you ask. What would
Oh, maybe you were preparing.
That's how I get comfortable. Is like I'm always thinking of what happens if this. So I was preparing, and then when I saw the text message, I was like,
It's
"Oh,
time.
it's time!" Like, I thought I was gonna have more time,
I thought I was going to have more time to prepare.
but I was like, I can't really say no because like I haven't blocked out, and like I wanted to eventually, but
That's so funny. Like, what would you say if you said, I can't tonight? Sorry.
so
That's funny.
You definitely could have said no if you wanted
yeah.
to.
Well, that's the thing where I was like, I knew eventually I'd be fine with it. I was like sitting on the fact that I hear that there's a long list of people that I've already asked. So I was like, okay, when that list dries out, then I'll be asked and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. But
Well, this is a really random thing, but I think it's actually kind of funny that you're wearing a green shirt tonight, because I was thinking about you coming on the podcast, and it made me think of the movie The Wizard of Oz, where you have doesn't there like a big green curtain? or-
Yes, in front of the pay no minds, the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of what I feel like we're getting tonight. Is we're getting the magician from behind the curtain, and he's a wizard.
He's a wizard. A
'Cause it's the
fake wizard,
Wizard
right?
of
Because he
Oz.
doesn't do
Wizard of
anything, right?
I don't remember, honestly. It's been a long time. I think I was scared of that movie as a kid, so I don't think I ever finished it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Anyways, so not liking new things. What other areas of your life do you feel like that's impacted you of like feeling like I don't like unknown?
a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's also, I guess, probably where like college was new. So that's where I got retreated back to my shell. Like, I don't really want to do any of this. It's kind of like most things. Like work was really scary. Graduating college and then going right into work. Where like, okay, I had a little bit of experience working at Collins because I had an internship before. But everything was really weird. And then of course this was over COVID. So like I'm working from home. So like I didn't really have people to go to. Like that was kind of scary, unknown.
Yeah.
But yeah, feel like it's most things. But
Well, most things are unknown because the world is a lot of different variables.
Yeah. So you don't like change, like if, I don't know, like was there a lot of stability probably in your childhood, but like where do you think that developed, that like fear of things, new things? A lot of people are fearful of new things. Like I'm scared of new things, but how do you think that came about?
I'm not sure because like
checking your psyche.
I always feel like I'm open to change and like change because I really don't like when people are like stuck in their ways and not well, at least open to listening to just change or something changing in their life, like new technology or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird because then it's like, well, I feel like I kind of like the safe and the known over the unknown. And I guess I haven't really found out what really was the moment that kind of developed in my life.
Yeah. Well, there's
Yeah.
always the nature versus nurture thing.
Yeah, that's
of,
what
like,
I was trying to.
How much of that is
Yeah.
just your temperament? Because like my temperament is like if I woke up every morning and I was doing something completely new every single day, it's like that would be paradise for me. I like specifically I remember the derecho, the week that the storm came in and all the power lines got knocked out and no one was really going to work. And it was you just got to grab a chainsaw and you got to cut trees down. It's like, that was like the best week of my life. Just like everything got thrown out the window. I love throwing plans out the window. Everything got thrown out of the window, and I just got to do this new and exciting thing with all the people that I love. And
That was the best week of Josh's life as well, and it was really scary for me. Like waking up and he's like, "We gotta go!" So excited, and I was like, "Who have I married?" Because it was like right after, like he loves this. I couldn't survive in like this kind of situation, and I was like, "Oh no, he's gonna make us live like this forever." Like he's liking it too much.
Nathan, were you in Ames when the derecho came through?
So when the derecho hit, I think there was like a week before school started.
Oh.
It was a couple weeks. So yeah, I was in town. I remember with that hearing people hearing that the storm's coming through Iowa, and I got some friends out in Ames already that just moved out quite early, and they're like, "Oh yeah, a storm's approaching. It's getting dark. Oh, this is not too bad. It's not as bad as they say. Oh, we lost power. Oh, there's a lot of sticks and stuff being thrown around." So I was hearing that things were getting a lot stronger and stronger. And of course, eventually hit here, did go to the basement.
Not onto the front porch like everyone else.
We were on there for a while until like it was really going. We're like, yeah, I'll step inside. Yeah, I'll go down to the basement. But I was watching from like a little window, and we had this like really big oak tree in our backyard that was a couple 100 years old, but just massive.
Yeah.
I just remember just seeing that come down.
Oh my
I
gosh!
was like, holy crap. I'm so glad that did not hit the house.
Yeah.
But it went the direction it did.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, almost all the trees that could have hit our house didn't. Stayed strong.
That's
So that was
cool.
good. But like, yeah, that was quite the experience. But yeah, at the same time, I don't know. There's some coolness to it that afterwards I was safe,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like
Everything changed.
everything changed.
Everything's
Like
there.
everything shut down. And it's like, oh, this is just what it is. Like there's no choice. Got to make the best of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That storm really showed how powerful God is,
Yes.
knocking down such big trees. And I was at Brenda's house, and we went to the basement, like we just see everything going by.
Yeah, and it was a lot worse out here.
Brenda's refrain was, "Every time Kurt leaves, something like this happened, like he's gone." And that was it wasn't funny at the time, but afterwards I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny."
Yeah, it always happens. He left recently, and we had that big storm that people were kind of scared about.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was another derecho.
But I stood out on the front porch for the whole time with that one, and I never felt unsafe. So.
I think I was outside as well. I remember. I was
Island.
watching. And,
I feel like in the Midwest we're like almost spoiled because we have these cool big storms, but they're not like hurricanes. We know it's not gonna like wipe out like
Everyone.
everyone. Of course, there are tornadoes, but we don't really deal with those in the cities as much.
yeah, it feels like there's like this bubble that's like Cedar Rapids area that whenever a storm comes, it like splits for like Cedar Rapids. Or if a tornado is coming, it like dies out. And then there's tornadoes afterwards. I don't know if it's like the River Valley or whatever.
Somebody's praying hard. There's a grandma that's like
Yeah.
really praying.
Yeah, but it seems like we've always made it through here just fine.
Yeah.
You know, Nathan, when you were saying you were trying to get prepared for like finally you're going to be on the show, and I was, asking people, or people were saying they wanted to be on there. I definitely was like, we should have Nathan, but I was like, I don't know. I should give him some time. So I actually was like specifically letting you not have to do this for a while.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate
So
that.
and it wasn't like, oh, we don't want to have Nathan. It was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like he would enjoy being like the second or the third one doing this. So
Well, he's the sixth.
he's the sixth. You made it long enough.
I was gonna say your like 3-year thing. 3 is a very biblical number, so it's a good number to if you're gonna pick one. Something I wanted to get to, which I feel like we haven't really been getting to with our guests as much, and I do really want to get into this, is what are things that you do in your life that you really enjoy? Like things that other people are like, oh yeah, I like that thing too. I should talk to Nathan about that.
Well, I got a pretty nerdy answer.
Nice.
A lot of time that I got. Just like enjoying playing video games, of course. So, yeah, that's probably a big pastime to me. Though kind of like outside of that, pretty interested. Well, so with my job with at Collins, been exposed to a lot of aviation, which kind of sparked me to want to. Well, been watching a lot of like people building their own planes, flying drones. So that's kind of like something that's like a hobby that I'm wanting to start to invest into.
That'd be awesome.
Are you going to make like an ultralight?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, not what I would fly in.
Josh has been talking about that.
Okay, you're talking RC planes?
Yeah, RC planes.
Oh, but an ultralight would be cooler.
It would be cool, but it would take a lot for me to get into it. I would like building it. I wouldn't want to be the test pilot.
Okay, I'll be your test pilot.
For 3 years, Joseph will fly your ultralight. He doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of something that I've been kind of looking to get into. Of course, you gotta go buy like a drone, start learning how to pilot. Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of an interest growing. I like cooking. It's just kind of something my family always did, was cook. And then when we were old enough, then my mom doesn't want to cook stuff. So here, learn how to cook this. You can cook up the ground beef, and then, oh yeah, you can start making the mac and cheese. And then, oh yeah, you can make the green bean casserole. And so that kind of got me into cooking. I don't think I'm really that good, but it's kind of fun.
What are your favorite meals to cook?
Yeah.
So we kind of do a thing where we get like really invested into like at least for me, figuring out how to make like one meal. So like, I think one of the first things that I remember that as a family we figured out was how to make like Reubens. We're like,
That's like literally one of my favorite foods.
Yeah. Are you good at making that? Because I need to learn.
Okay, next podcast we're recording, you're bringing Reubens.
It's going to be a cooking show. Oh my gosh, Joseph, we should do a cooking show. That would be fun.
Get everyone's recipes.
Yes.
Like a recipe book. But yeah, it's just something that like, I don't know if it was my mother was like, I want Reubens. So then she learned how to make it, and then she taught us how to make it. And we kind of like put together like an assembly line where we like cook the corned beef.
Yeah, corned beef.
Yeah. And then one person will then start slicing it. Other person will start buttering the bread, toasting it, putting the meat on, and then toasting that. So we get like an assembly line going on. So it was just something we would occasionally do that my mom's like, we're having Reubens tonight. Okay, everyone, get off your computers. Help me make
know
food.
what to do.
Yeah, so we start the assembly line. So that was like one thing. Then I feel like another meal we learned how to make was like pork tenderloins.
Like breaded and fried?
Yeah.
Oh.
So just looked up some recipes, started making it. We're like, oh, how is this? Good. And then we start tweaking things, and Josh came up with like a really nice seasoning mix. We figured out like what was the best way to bread it with. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy cooking too, but I feel like for me it's like the opposite. I just like to pull together whatever ingredients are close at hand and just make something. Like this morning, we didn't have any eggs, and we didn't have any, I guess I didn't have any bacon defrosted, but I defrosted some sausage. So I had some sausage, and we had some tomatoes and some peppers, and so I like started cooking those in our cast iron, and then I was like, this is getting kind of watery. Maybe I'll just try and make it into more of like a sauce. And so I put in some like cottage cheese and then like some cornstarch and made it kind of this like saucy like sausage and vegetable thing. And it was really good, but it looked like throw up.
Yeah, that sounds
Most things I make look like throw up. But it was really good. But Elena wouldn't eat it because it looked like throw up. So
that's a good reason to not eat something.
Definitely don't feel like I'm good enough to cook like that.
Well, maybe I'm not either. But
I like following recipes, and then of course then tweaking it from there. But I like the safety of the recipe that someone has figured this out already.
Yeah. See, I for me, it's like so much mental work to try and follow a recipe.
It's
I don't
a lot.
know why. I don't know why, but it's like I have to look at the thing and then okay. One of my biggest pet peeves. My biggest pet peeve is when someone leaves the shower head on. So then you go to turn on the faucet and you get sprayed with cold water. That's my biggest pet peeve. But my second biggest pet peeve is on like when you go to a recipe online and you have to scroll through their entire blog.
Their story.
And then you have to scroll through all the ads.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
I don't understand why they do this, but they put the ingredients in like a separate spot and the recipe in another spot.
Yeah.
And you have to like scroll back and forth. I don't see why you can't put the like you just write out like put this much of this ingredient
Yes.
in the pot rather than just put the ingredient in the pot and then you have to scroll down past their blog and
Yeah.
the ads.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
They just want you to load all those ads scrolling up and down.
Gosh, that is really, and I think that's why I don't follow ingredients and recipes very much either. But you have to with baking, and that's why I'm not good at baking because I'm like I want the gist of it,
Yeah.
and then I want to figure it out and I want it done, and I don't want to be doing all that. But
Yeah, bacon's more of a
it's a science. You have to follow the recipe.
I think for me, I tolerate I have the same frustrations with like websites that they do that. When I just want to learn how to like make homemade pasta. Like just show me like the ratios. Like, nope, I gotta listen to your whole life story first.
Yep.
Or scroll past it.
Right.
But I think I put through with that just because like I don't trust myself. But then also I'm used to like my grandmother, she would never like cook from a recipe. So it would always be different every time. Like a little bit different.
Yeah.
And like we were like, oh, yep, how did she make it this time? Like not that it was ever bad, but like it
Yeah.
wasn't consistent. Whereas like
Yeah.
I want to find that consistency so I can like refine it over time.
Yeah.
Of like, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
Needed a little more salt. Okay. I remember next time to add more salt or season it a little better, or it was kind of like loose. Okay, I could have added more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's this funny thing I do whenever I cook and I mess it up and like I try to follow a recipe. I always go, I don't know what happened. I followed the recipe exact. And Josh is like, yeah, it's okay. But he knows I didn't. And we both just kind of pretend like I followed the recipe and it's their fault that it didn't work out and not my fault for not actually following the recipe.
Yeah, that reminds me often looking at like the recipes, the websites, then they often have like a comment section. It's always funny. You'll find like some person's like, oh, I replaced the butter with this. And then it turned out disgusting. Like, 1
why?
star. It's like, well, yeah, well, you didn't follow the recipe. It's like, what do you think? Like maybe it would have worked out, but why are you complaining about the recipe when it's not the
I
recipe?
changed everything you said and it didn't work out. I don't know why.
Yeah, they just read that.
There's got to be a better way, is what I'm saying. There's got to be a recipe website out there that I haven't discovered that's not terrible.
Yeah, I've been trying to like learn like what cookbooks are good because I was going through that frustration of like I don't really want to scroll through all this, but then I was like I don't really know what cookbooks are good.
Yeah.
But at least like then like you can just like flip to a page and
There's a New Life cookbook. I don't know. I think, does Elena have it? I feel like she gave me some
Yeah,
recipes
I mean, it's
from
from
there.
like the early 2000s or something, but
When things were good.
food is still the same, so.
Yeah. Probably a lot of casseroles in there.
Yeah.
So Nathan, what do you see like for yourself, or what do you want for yourself in like the next 5-10 years or whatever?
5-10 years. It's like a job reflection. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, this is serious. I may or may not hire you.
I don't know. Like, obviously, like I want to see myself grow, both as a person and with my relationship with God. Yeah, because that's kind of one of the things. At least I feel like I'm really driven to keep improving. I always want to like tweak things a little bit to get better and better. Learning something, just keep getting better at it, or learning more. Just hard because I don't remember stuff really well, but through experience, I feel like I get better. So like, yeah, that's kind of my answer, is just like just improving as a human being. So just improving with my relationship with God.
What do you feel like you're growing in your relationship with God right now?
I feel like I'm starting to put down habits. Just having quiet times in the morning regularly. With that, also reading the Word on a regular. It helps when you have like a book that has days.
Oh yeah, have you been doing the Bible reading plan?
I struggled at first. Like I tried to start it, and then like I struggled, and then I got some like motivation for someone, and then got back into it, and it's actually been like really nice. Because like before, I was like taking like some of the books of the Bible and just reading a couple chapters in the morning, and then I got done with a couple books, and I'm like, I don't know what to read next, and then I'll figure that out tomorrow, and I'll figure that out tomorrow, and then I lose that habit. So it's kind of just building and reinforcing good habits.
Well, it's nice to just be told what to do now.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, that's
you
very
don't have to
nice.
figure it out. You just do this thing, and everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, and that's been kind of nice, because then it's like also something to kind of talk about, like, oh, did you read the reading here? Like, what did you think about that? Like, that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's cool.
have something.
It's definitely interesting to have something where you could go up and be like, what did you think about this? Yeah, it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not that I would want every sermon to be chronological, but like it has been nice to do this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what the pastors do next year, but they could definitely like go through like a book of the Bible more in depth or something, like have people be reading that. But
So Nathan, I just have to ask, do you want to get married in the future? If you don't want to answer that, Joseph will probably be willing to cut it out.
Yeah, like I guess like to me that would be good to have my own family. It's just kind of the thing where socially that's really hard for me to go up to someone and be like, hi, I'm Nathan.
yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to meet new people and make new friends, and I do it really slowly. So I got to get comfortable in like a space, something. So it's not like where I want to go out somewhere and just like meet completely new people. Like,
Meet strangers.
That's scary for me.
Yeah.
Outside my comfort zone. So like that's a little hard, but yeah.
Well, if you're watching this podcast, I probably should say this.
Well, I was gonna say that. I was just,
And you're a
Shameless
single
fucking
lady. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Well, I think it is a really good thing, but it is hard to go out of your comfort zone to do that.
especially in this world now. I just feel like if you're not meeting someone in your church, like I honestly don't know where you meet people.
Yeah. It's definitely kind of interesting. It's definitely something that I feel like a lot of other people are realizing.
Yeah.
Just because they are seeing like people are single more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like birth rates decreasing. Of course, there's a lot of other factors to that, but it's just kind of another sign that people aren't getting married. And
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of talk about that. And it's like, yeah, I think it's harder for people to get to know someone else, partially probably because of the internet and cell phones and how we're all so connected, yet at the same time it kind of disconnects us.
Yeah.
Like I get that, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a book that I had to read in college called Alone Together. And the title pretty much says all of it. But it's just like, we're together, we're connected, but we're really just alone in our own separate ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I can contact whoever I want at almost any time with this, but that doesn't mean I go see them in person and experience stuff all the time.
Well, and even with that, you like maybe contact the same 5 people. Like you're not contacting strangers.
Yeah, you're not.
It's not like broadening your horizons at all. Like I was just thinking about it as we were talking. I'm like, where are all the people? where is everybody? I don't know. I don't know where I would like make new friends unless I don't know. You have to like specifically seek out like I was looking for different mom friends. Not that I don't like the ones I have now at this church, but just to meet new people because I love doing that. And so I was like, okay, I guess I can go to the park and like wait till a mom comes and then talk to her. Like that just sounds like a lot to just meet a person. And then I met 2 moms at the park and they had kids, but it was hard. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you say? You look like a freak. Like, you look like a weirdo. Just say, hi, I'm Jared. You want my number? Like, please call me. Let's be friends.
Well, we'll find out if just saying that at Walmart works.
I really hope it does. I'm kind of hoping she loads my groceries again. But that was really hard. And then they kind of, the ladies at the park carried some sort of a conversation, but it was so hard to continue to talk with them. And then I never saw them again. Mm-hmm. And then like, now what? I honestly don't know.
I feel like I've gotten through all my prepared questions.
Uh-oh. Start asking unprepared questions.
Oh, no.
Very scary questions. So are you familiar with when you don't have questions, you ask about the Enneagram and you ask about love languages, Joseph? Okay.
I'll keep that in mind.
Remember that. So are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Somewhat. It's definitely something I realized a lot of people at church really like.
They used to.
There was a phase. I mean, it's a personality thing. Mm-hmm. So like, there's really only so much you can learn from it because like every single person is unique. But there is like a lot of similar ways that people think, and different people fall into different categories. Like that's true too.
Yeah, but we're not all that unique if you think about it. So, are you familiar?
I'm
with
familiar with it, but I've never actually taken it myself. Because I guess like in like college, of course, it was like one of those things. I don't even remember what class that they had us like do it. And I was just like, I don't care.
Did they have you do one for like your career in high school? Because I remember doing that, and they said like I should do a thing that I could not do.
I don't think I actually ever had that. I don't even remember why I did it in college for this class. I think it was like some language arts class.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I just remember I was like real frustrated with this, so like I really didn't engage with it. Mm-hmm. So like I haven't ever really engaged, but it is actually kind of interesting because like it's definitely something where it's like people are kind of similar in certain ways, and like you can start to group things because humans, we like to put things in categories.
Yeah, make it make sense.
Yeah. So like there is a lot of similarities that you can get from that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, everyone's pretty unique.
And you don't want to label people. That's like the pitfall. You're labeling people and then you think you've got someone figured out and you really don't.
Yeah. But not that I have like that big of a problem with it, but like I feel like I was kind of put off with it.
Yeah.
Or I didn't want to engage. So then I don't really remember whatever I scored or chose for myself. So I'm sorry, I don't feel like I could engage you with that.
Oh, that's okay.
I remembered something that I wanted to go back to. So, like at the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned your siblings and that you guys fought a lot when you were younger. How is your relationship with your siblings now?
I don't think fought a lot. I feel like everyone has like little arguments and stuff. Mm-hmm. There was definitely like points where we were like arguing most nights. Like if we were left alone, like parents go out for some event, we would end up having to call them. we're all,
so what was the dynamic there? Who started the arguments? What were they over?
So it was always kind of funny. Like it seemed like Josh was always the problem. But we learned pretty quickly that when Nicole, she went overseas one summer, the house was quiet.
So it was actually...
I know. I think there's probably a good chance we just grew out of it at that point too. Because so she would have been like a senior in college. So we were starting to get older. So we probably just mellowed that a little bit more too. But, yeah, I think a lot of it is that we all kind of think similarly. Mm-hmm. So, and then we all are kind of similar because we're some of our parents in some ways. So, then we would try to take charge, and we'd be like, "No, you got to do what we say because we're the oldest ones. We're in charge." And then, of course, Josh and Hannah are like, "No, we don't want to do that." And we're like, well, Nicole and I were like, "Well, we're the older ones. Like, you got to do what we say. We're responsible for you." So, yeah. So there was a lot of that, and just yeah.
So now, how often would all of the Anderson siblings be together in one place?
Normally pretty often. Like, of course, as a family, we also enjoy coming together and then going to our separate corners of the house occasionally to kind of get away from everyone. But no, like, it's a little hard because, like, Nicole's up in Minneapolis now. She up there with her husband, just where they found work. But no, we normally have people around for the holidays and enjoying that and spending time with each other. So I definitely spend a lot more time with Josh, just because we have more common interests. So I talk to him online a lot, even though he's not around. Occasionally with my sisters.
Nicole doesn't come back very often. I've only seen her a few times or a handful of times when she comes back.
Yeah, it's kind of like an awkward drive from Minneapolis because
it is.
It's not that long. So like it's 4 hours roughly, depending on traffic. So it's like not that bad, but it's just at that point where you can kind of do it after work on a Friday, but then you got to plan to go back. So it's kind of hard for her to get down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, her husband kind of works like an off schedule. So, like, he works over the weekends, but then gets other days off. So they don't really have that time where they would have to take time off.
Yeah, like a couple days. Yeah.
So what does the Anderson family do for fun when they get together? In my mind, you guys are, like, probably playing cards. Is that a big thing?
Yeah, so one of the games that we really like to play is Nerds. Which we've kind of tried to bring to the church.
Yeah. I knew that game as a kid as Dutch Blitz.
Yep.
Which I think it's the same. Dutch Blitz and Nerds.
I believe so. I think there might be like a few small rules, but like roughly speaking.
Dutch Blitz has the weird Dutch cards.
Yeah.
But I absolutely despise the game. It's one of my least favorite games of all time. But I'm glad that you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just like a game my parents grew up playing with everyone. So then when we were old enough, then we got into it. And then, of course, we got pretty competitive.
Oh, you can get very competitive with that game.
And then you get to, like, slap down cards. You get to bump people out of your way. Like, it's fun. I don't feel like I'm too good at it. There's a lot of moving parts going on.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's just something we enjoy. We have, like a kitchen island that we would play. So
Because you got to be standing.
Yeah, you got to be standing. You got to be ready to reach across to slap down the card on another pile.
Push someone over.
Yeah. So that's something we like to do when we have people over. Cooking. It's definitely something we like to do together. Just, it's not just like my mom or sisters. Normally it's like my brother and I are all in the kitchen cooking. It's just fun. I don't know. It's just something where you got something that you're doing, but then you can be with people. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, just for the record, I don't hate Nerds because I think it's a bad game. I'm just really bad at it.
See, the thing that you got to do is you got to find a good partner.
Okay.
And then play in a partner.
Oh, you play partners?
Yeah, so you have one person that has like 13 cards, and you're basically trying to get rid of those 13 cards, and then you can call Nerds, and then you get like 10 extra points.
Is it like an unofficial partner, or is it like an actual partner game? Oh.
Well, so you could play solo where you're both managing your 13 cards, and then the rest of your deck that you're flipping 3 cards at a time.
Yeah.
But you can have partners where you have one person managing the 13, another person managing the rest of your deck that you're flipping 3 cards over at a time.
That's probably easier because I recently played where we were doing it all on our own, and it was my first time playing, and I didn't really understand the rules, so I'm sitting there like flipping through all of the cards, like actually looking at all of them and like picking out the ones I like, and then they like realized I was doing that and said, "Jared, are you cheating? Like, are you just looking at the cards and picking the ones you like?" And I was like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah, it's a lot harder to learn, I guess.
It is.
But it is pretty nice with a partner because you can have a partner do the more intense thing. Have someone have the 13 cards and then just kind of like watch and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever played it solo, so maybe I would enjoy it. Elena really likes it. I think she's played it with Hannah and with your mom a fair amount. But I guess maybe I need to do the partners thing. Maybe that would be easier for me. I would be doing the less exciting thing for sure.
I don't know. Sometimes it's like you just learn your role. And then like if you have like the 13 cards, that allows you to, you're not doing the flipping. So you can actually watch. And then you could be like, oh, I need that card. Grab, throw from the other person.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
It's just a way for you guys to be violent with each other, huh? Just
Kind of.
a legal way to push your sister.
Yeah. That's really fun, though, to have like a family game.
Yeah. So we play games. We like to do family movie nights. We used to do that quite a bit, that we'd watch like a movie. Yeah. Like the first time we watched through Star Wars was when we just got like a projector for the church, previous church we went to. We're like, well, we got to try this projector out, make sure it works. And my parents are like, how about we watch through Star Wars? You'll like that. So we got to watch Star Wars up on the wall on the projector. That was
Like the whole, like 2 trilogies or?
Yeah, so we started with episode 4, 5, 6, and I think at some point we switched to the TV because we had installed the projector. But that was kind of like our movie nights, and that was kind of fun. And we like watched through like the Avengers. It was just kind of cool that there was like just watching like a series or something.
Yeah.
Or there was like, oh, we got to watch the next thing together, and we can talk about it. Oh, what do you think is going to happen here? And it was fun.
Yeah. You got anything else?
Why I wanted to know his love language.
Oh, yeah.
Love language.
Have you gone through like, what is it, like the 5 love language things? It's like, what is it? Physical touch, gifts, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation.
Yeah, that's it.
Can you repeat those again?
Yeah. Physical touch, gifts, acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation. We can just test them all right now if you'd like. I'll give you a hug.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I thought about this a while ago, but of course, like my memory, I was like, okay, I need a refresher. Picked up. Probably acts of service is probably it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because to me, like physical things really don't like do it for me. But like when someone does like spends time doing something, maybe it's that time putting some gift together, or to me that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is kind of like some overlap between them of like, I really appreciate, like you said, I really appreciate you serving me by putting a gift together, serving me by saying something nice, or serving me. Like, there's a little bit of overlap, but.
There is. So it could be acts of service in quality time, because you're valuing that they're taking their precious lifetime to do stuff for you. I could have guessed that. That's why I was asking. Is because I'm like, well, how does Nathan love people? And it seems like it's by serving them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's the last thing I wanted to ask about.
Okay.
Is there, this is a good one. Josh used to ask me this when we were dating, and it was really annoying. Is there something that I didn't, or was it me that asked that? Because I was lazy. Is there something that we didn't ask you that you wish we had?
Wish we had. I don't know.
I kind of asked him that question before you got here.
Oh.
I asked him what we should ask him.
What did he say?
He said he didn't know. I feel like we covered a lot of
I think we
different
did.
stuff. So it's probably honestly a good spot to end it.
I agree.
Don't need to kick a horse that's down.
That's not.
Well, maybe I could pick a different metaphor.
Yeah.
No, okay. Anyways, any closing thoughts, Nathan? Anything that you want people who are listening to know? Not necessarily even about you, just word of encouragement or...
I don't know. Like, I guess feel free to come up, say hello. Mm-hmm. I'm not much of a conversationalist, but I'm a good listener.
And you know where to find him because he's in the sound booth. Mm-hmm. So he's pretty. It's hard. He can't escape. Actually, if you go in the door, you have to jump out the side of the sound booth. So pretty easy to track down.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Nathan, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you coming to this church and everything your family does, and with just the amount of joy that you guys do it with. Honestly, I come in here every other Tuesday whenever we record, and you're here doing the things, and I'm just so surprised because I definitely thought you'd be like, yeah, you guys got it. I'm not only surprised though.
That
I'm
was
like,
originally the plan.
That was.
I would be doing all the things, but Nathan just likes doing it, and we like him doing it.
we let go and let Nate. Don't do that. But I really appreciate you, Nathan. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Again, if you want to be interviewed on this podcast, let us know. I did want to say one real quick thing, and I'm just going to say it so that I actually do it. But we talked last week. We've been getting a lot of feedback of some people feel like the podcasts are way too long. And for those people, I am going to put out some 10-minute, 5-minute, I don't really know. It's going to be some sort of excerpt video. It's just a little taste, a little teaser for those people to be like, oh, maybe I should listen to this 3 hours. I don't think we've done a 3-hour podcast.
No.
2 hours. 2 hours, because I take the best 5 minutes and put it in a video, and they think the whole thing is that good.
Well, think about it though. We're trying to get to know somebody, and they've lived so much life, and we're jumping through it. It kind of seems a little demeaning to try to fit that in 30 minutes.
Well, I don't think. No, I mean, yeah, not trying to do that, but just trying to help those people have an entry point to. Or if you feel like you're really busy, it's like, okay, I can watch this little snippet and learn something rather than nothing.
Yeah, I guess for me, I've enjoyed kind of sitting behind the camera watching them because, 3 hour. Well, it's not 3 hours. It's normally about an hour 30, 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely kind of intimidating. Mm-hmm. Just as YouTube video 2 hours. Oh, I don't have 2 hours, but. I always like content like that because, just download it, just play it as, I don't know, in the background at some point, going for a walk. It's definitely, I've learned a lot just from the few people who've been here, just learning from their experience in life.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone has something to tell, or I've learned stuff about people.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll also say, if you are enjoying the podcast, tell other people at New Life that you're enjoying it, and tell them that they should listen to it too, because I just want to bless as many people as I can. So, thanks for listening. Thank you for your time and for listening to us. Have a good whatever time of day it is for you.